Hey guys, it's me, MissDarizard, and it's time for our Week 7 MissDarizard Draft League recap. Let's get into it. So the first match that we're going to cover here is actually the Port Richey Pukamukus. That's Riley Brooks against Brad the Bad. That's the Miami Manectrics. This is an inter-division rivalry match, so this one was really important as far as playoff implications go. Brad is leading his division as well as the entire league, and Riley is actually fighting for a wild card spot at this point in time, but could potentially threaten for a division lead spot if he can seal a victory here. Early on, we see him go into setting up a reflect here, and Brad quickly getting up the sticky webs. We see Espeon gets pretty good chunk damage off on what is usually a very thick and hard to take down lantern. For Riley, he likes to really lean into an assault vest lantern to be super tanky and just wall opponents, but that Espeon gets good chunk damage off here. Then we see a little bit of switching going on here. Mimikyu getting some good damage off on the psychic type Celebi. And then we see them do some more switching, and what we're gonna see be a major trend here is this Ferrothorn just being a huge wall and obstacle for Riley to overcome. If you look at Riley's roster here, you really only see one Pokemon that gets fire type coverage, and that's Colossal. And when you're prepping for Brad, you have to be prepared for this Ferrothorn, so maybe a little bit of an oversight, but we'll see what happens. Here it is revealed that Lantern didn't even bring Assault Vest this week. Actually, it's a leftover set. So Riley trying something a little bit new, but really to no avail. Basically loses Lantern for nothing. He does get a freeze off on the Ferrothorn, but Ferrothorn still gets the kill credit even with the just with the Leech Seed, even though he's frozen. So here we see Riley go into Colossal to try and spin the webs out of the way, but Brad smartly spin blocks by switching into Mimikyu, and Riley slowly takes out the Mimikyu with Stone Edge. Finally, Riley's able to get the rapid spin off. Does take some Iron Barbs damage, but then something super important is revealed here. He switches out against a Ferrothorn with a Fire-type Pokemon. So what that means to me is Riley, who had a match against a team with the S-tier Ferrothorn on the roster, a 4x weakness to fire, brought a Fire-type Pokemon without bringing a Fire-type move. No Pokemon on his team has a Fire-type move. I don't even think we see any Fighting-type moves, so he has no way to kill this Ferrothorn. And that's just, that's a major, major oversight. Unfortunate. It is super unfortunate. But I mean, that's going to be the problem that we see moving forward. We do see Riley put up a little bit of a fight here, but I mean, this Espeon is just hitting really hard. If I were to venture a guess, it's probably Choice Specs Espeon, based off the amount of damage it's doing. With Magic Bounce pretty much shuts down Pukamuku, so really solid set to bring against Riley's team, because Riley really loves leaning into that Pukamuku and its tech. Ferrothorn completely walls Dracovish. Ferrothorn walls everything on this team. The one person that could have done big damage to this Ferrothorn was Colossal with any fire move. You can even run a special Colossal. I've done some testing with Colossal. If you really wanted to, you can run a special Colossal, and even that does a ton of damage to Ferrothorn. But he didn't bring any fire coverage, which is just astounding to me. Then here you see a super easy read. Riley soaks Ferrothorn, clearly telegraphing the Toxic, and Brad reads that easily, switches in, bounces it back at Riley, and Pukamuku gets Toxic. Which is a big deal, because Pukamuku is a wall, and if it's Toxic, it's the best way to beat a wall is by, getting it Toxic, because slowly it's going to die anyways. And we will see the Dracovish pick up a free kill there, but then the end of this match is basically just Ferrothorn walling out the Dracovish. That's what we're going to see here. And Brad picks up the win. The next match we're going to cover is Pokemon RealTime. That is the Sunny Day Solar Beams against Fungal. That's the Sanibel Salazzles. Fungal still looking for his first win on the season against a active team. Right off the rip, we see both of these mons start setting up, which is really scary when you see a Cloyster on the other side. But lucky for Fungal, Reuniclus is just stupid thick, and with that acid armor plus 2 defense, it's easily gonna live that. So then RealTime goes into Ninetales, try to set Sun. Fungal makes a smart read by trying to wall it off with Toxapex, but Toxapex does not like electric, even if it is just a Pikachu. But then he reads the Volt Switch, goes into Jolteon, so basically gets a free attack off on the Vileplume, but then the Vileplume with that Chlorophyll speed boost is able to put it to sleep, and then do big damage to Reuniclus on the switch in, and then finish off the Reuniclus here, picking up a kill. Pretty cool for the Vileplume. I just love seeing Gen 1 mons getting good use here, and obviously RealTime's whole team is Gen 1, so it's fun to see. But then Weevil revenge killing with the Ice Shard. And then we see Corsola. So this Corsola was something I was curious how RealTime was going to deal with, because that thing can wall so hard. But he switches out into Jolteon, who eats a Solar Beam on the switch in and just dies. And then this Crustle would have died if not for Sturdy. Misses the Toxic, so unfortunate for Fungal. And then the Ninetales is able to kill on the preceding turn. Then we see something interesting here. RealTime goes for Solar Beam. I think he was trying to project the switch into Weevil. But if he would have clicked Psyshock with the boost that he had, he would have easily killed the Toxapex. But that's not what happened. So now we see it is revealed that Clefable actually has Thunderbolt, which is a really nice bring. Gets big damage off on Toxapex, but Fungal smartly switching out. It does have Regenerator, so the longer you can keep it off the field, the more health it'll restore, and that is wall, so that's something you definitely want to, keep track of. Corsola trying to wall here by clicking Strength Sap, but, I mean, Clefable not having a ton in the attack department to begin with, so not getting a ton of health back. He then tries to switch in. Not sure why he doesn't click Thunderbolt there to try and get big damage off, but whatever, he switches out. He does get the kill on Corsola, so that's a big kill with the Pikachu nonetheless. It's awesome seeing Pikachu get a kill. We then see Weevil pick up the kill here with a couple Ice Shards. Then he swaps out because obviously Hitmonlee. He doesn't want any part of that Hitmonlee. Then he goes back into Ninetales to try to nerf the Skull to get the Sun up, and the Ninetales likely is the solution here. And now that he's revealed Psyshock, he has to click Solar Beam, because Fungal could predict at any time and get a free switch in, and he really doesn't want to give Weevil a free switch in. But Fungal tries to predict the Psyshock, but RealTime smartly continues clicking Solar Beam, gets some good chunk damage off, but it does eventually, Ninetales does die to Toxic. And then here we see a misplay by Fungal switching into Weevil, trying to predict a switch, but it doesn't happen, and the Hitmonlee picks up the kill. Now here we're going to see Hitmonlee trying to get some chip damage off on Toxapex, but the problem with that is Toxapex has Recover, and any chip damage you do is just basically, it can basically just be restored in an instance, and it has Black Sludge. So now we have a 27% Pikachu get huge damage off. Huge damage. For some reason, Fungal clicks Recover instead of Scald, because he could have picked up the kill there. I read the comments in post-match, and it looked like Fungal thought that there might have been Eviolite on the Pikachu. Not sure it would have been able to kill with Eviolite, but, you gotta roll the dice there. And he didn't. He took big damage, and RealTime picks up the win. So, big win for RealTime. That was another inter-division match. So here we have Okan Alagaz. That is the Alien Alchremies against Sergeant Mech. That's the new Bark Normalizers. He quickly picks up the first kill against that Gyarados. So that's a big kill. Guts, Flame Orb, Obstagoon hits so fucking hard. So hard. It's super understated how good this thing can be in the right environment. But does pick up the kill on Gyarados, but eventually dies to the Zeraora. And then we see Okan starting to set up, which is a super interesting strategy considering that he has Ditto, but Ditto is out. So I think what Okan's thinking is, well, he can't steal my buffs at this point. He's going to have to switch out if he wants to, and I'm going to kill something. And that's exactly what happens. He kills the Silvally, which was a huge kill. Because I know Sergeant Mech brought that Silvally just to deal with Zeraora, and because Okan brought Grass Knot this week, was able to kill it easily. But then Sergeant Mech switches in to Ditto, steals the buffs, and just slowly wears Zeraora down with Ditto. So Ditto is so good, just for anybody trying to set up. You know, Ditto is just perfect for that. So then we see Sergeant Mech bring out Diggersby to face off against Okan's Dusknoir, and then for some reason clicks Quick Attack. Complete misplay, and his choice band's been knocked off, and now he's burned, so he's completely useless at this point, just kind of sitting there slowly dying. And then what we're going to see here is Escavalier just proceed to wall everything. Nothing on Sergeant Mech's team that remains can kill this Escavalier, and he's just going to go ahead and wall this thing until all of Sergeant Mech's Pokemon die. And we'll just kind of sit back and watch that unfold here. And Okan picks up a win. So really good win against a really good team for Okan. The next match is myself, MissDarizard, the Olivine City Volties, against Tatako Throught, which is the coach of the This Is For Rachel squad. So right off the rip, I have a bad lead against her Wishiwashi, so I switch into the Apple, but that thing does huge damage with U-turn. Then she goes into Hatterene, and I go into my Squirrel, and Squirrel does so much damage, especially +2, and it's thick. It heals with Cheek Pouch, and then I brought the tech with Thief. Stole the Gourgeist Assault Vest. So now he's super thick. Unfortunately, she brings out the Weezing and Will-O-Wisps to basically bring my attack back to neutral, and then predicts by switching into Runerigus. I try to click Thief to get some super effective damage, but I mean, I'm burnt, so it's not doing a ton, and Dirty Dan just dies, but does his job. I mean, his job was really just to come in, get a kill, and make sure that Hatterene can't take advantage, or that Rachel's team can't take advantage of my team with, with Trick Room, because it's just so slow. But the problem is my Bishop is, because her team is so slow and it's built for Trick Room, if she does not have Trick Room up, even a middling tier speed Pokemon like Bishop can outspeed the entire team. That's why I'm able to use it as a revenge killer, pick up 2 kills already, but Type Null, big damage with Double Edge, able to kill my Salazzle. Also that Double Edge with Wishiwashi took out my Keldeo. That was a big loss. I was a little nervous, but at this point I realized my win con is clearly Bishop able to kind of just clear the board from here, because again, Rachel's team's built for Trick Room, and without Trick Room she's really slow, so my Bishop's able to outspeed everything and just finish everything off. So I pick up another win, giving me the best differential in the league, tied with Brad. So I feel pretty good about the way my season's turned around. The next match is British Gent. That's the Belper Bewares against Frozen Wrath, who is Hoen's Mad. And this is a really good match too. 2 really good teams. British Gent coming into this match was the best team in the league statistically. And Frozen has just been really solid all year. He does a really good job prepping for his opponent, and this week was no different. As we see them play some switching, they're both trying to get a feel for each other, see what the other is bringing. Frozen decides to start setting up his Toxicroak, and then just annihilates the Bell with knockoff. And then Gent goes into Sylveon, which is kind of surprising that Frozen would switch out instead of just trying to go for the kill, but Sylveon is pretty thick, so nothing wrong with playing conservative. But then he does go right back into Toxicroak and sets up. Takes big damage from Hyper Voice, but then kills with Gunk Shot. So, just basically got to where he needed to be just with extra steps, able to knock off the heat rock and then die from life orb recoil. And then smartly brings Gudra, who sets up Hail to get rid of the sun. That way Chlorophyll Venusaur isn't an issue. Really good bring. And then kills the Torkoal with Draco Meteor. Then Gent goes into Venusaur. Frozen then reveals Blizzard on Gudra, but due to the Draco Meteor nerfing its special attack, doesn't do a ton of damage. Venusaur slowly takes it out with a couple ice weather balls. And then poisons the Serena. Serena bringing Zen Headbutt, though, getting huge damage off on the Venusaur, and then spinning away the hazards just before she dies. So some really, really good playing there. And then Frozen brings in Mamoswine to revenge kill with Ice Shard. Smartly switching out against Gallade, because obviously you don't want to lose Mamoswine. Mamoswine's your win con at this point. Gallade picks up a couple kills, but gets within kill range for the Mamoswine to come in, kill with Ice Shard. And then get a 2-hit KO on the Dragapult with a couple more Ice Shards, living the Scald. So really, really good win for Frozen this week against British Gent. And that's actually going to cover the matches for the week. And now we'll get into the standings. So currently, the number one team in the Venusaur division, as well as the entire league, are the Miami Manectrics, coached by Brad the Bad. They're currently at 6-1 with a differential of 13, the best differential in the league, tied with myself, the Olivine City Volties. In second place in the Venusaur division are Hoenns Mad at 5-2 with a differential of 10, right on Brad's heels. Unfortunately for Frozen, Brad does get an automatic win this week because he has a matchup with the San Diego Talonflame, so he gets an automatic 3-0 win. So going to put the pressure on Frozen to make sure he picks up a win this week with at least a differential of 3. But he can do it. He can definitely do it. He's been good all season, so we'll see what happens. And third in his division is the Port Richey Pugamukus at 4-3 with a differential of 1. Kind of falling back a little bit after that loss to Brad the Bad. And fourth in the division is the New Bark Normalizers at 3-4 with a differential of 2. In the Charizard division is led by myself, the Olivine City Volties at 5-2, again with a differential of 13. In second place, the Shadow Kingdom Gengars at 4-3 with a differential of -1, picking up that free win last week, the free 3-0 win. So they'll be active again this week. In third place, this is for Rachel. At 3-4 with a differential of -5. And in last in this division, San Diego Talonflames again. They stepped out of the league earlier this season. They're 0-7 with a differential of -23. Finally, the Blastoise division, which is led by the Belper Bewares at 5-2 with a differential of 11, having a really solid season. But on his heels are the Sunny Day Solar Beams, actually making a resurgence, looking really solid this season, and looking like they could actually threaten to make the playoffs if they could either overtake the Belper Bewares or overtake Hoenns Mad for the wildcard spot, in a really good position to threaten either team. Third in the Blastoise division are the Atlanta Alchremies at 2-5 with a differential of -9. And then last in the Blastoise division are the Sanibel Slazzles at 1-6 with a differential of -14. The current kill leader in the league is Toxicroak, picking up 2 kills last week and has 10 kills total for Hoenns Mad, being super consistent all season. And that will take us to the Pokemon of the week, which is my boy, Check, or my girl, whatever, Bishop. Had a really good week. 5 kills. I'm just super proud of this thing. Really, really good week. And it's like Bishop always has the ability to threaten and like go off on a week like it did last week, especially with an ability like Defiant, access to Swords Dance, and then priority stab with Sucker Punch. But like this is the first week we've really been able to bust out and have a really solid week with Check. So I'm really excited that I was able to pick that up with Bishop. So yeah, that's gonna do it. Thanks everybody who stuck around for the whole video. Feel free to check out my Instagram, my Twitter, and my YouTube. which is what you're here watching that on, so I guess that's a silly suggestion. But check out my other videos. Also, check out my Twitch. It's the same name as my YouTube page, MissDarizard. I stream 5 days a week, Pokemon 3 days. I've been streaming Sonic Adventure the first day of the week, and every Friday we stream something spooky. So feel free to come join us, and thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Bye!